Dee, 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 dee.
Oh, hello.
Oh. Is that the case? Hmm.
Another one.
Another one, yeah. Woo! Mm-hmm. That's right.
I would argue my side's the right side.
Well,
The Far East.
the OG stuff, right? Didn't
That's
the
right.
original the OG York from there or something?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, new
York.
ones are better, so.
I don't think this one's. I don't think Old York is that far from me, actually.
I can. They're gonna ask me to rap, but all right.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Huh? The internet? Funny? Hmm.
No audio from Sean. Yeah. What was it last time?
you last time you had to mute the audio coming from the stream to allow yourself to do a thing. Okay.
Right.
The echo bus.
Some sort of fix. How about now?
We're on the unmute raid right now.
There is a delay, so hopefully now, yes. Good? All right, great.
Let's go.
Love it.
Right. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you for the help, stream. As always, you guys are undefeated. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you for joining. Speaking of love and support, I want to say a great big shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. Patreon.com/TheComicsPals. For as little as $3 a month, you can support the show, which we super duper appreciate. We want to shout out everybody who has chosen to join us at $10 or more. So thank you to Thunderstruck Rebecca Alejandro, the Night Stalker Harris Najinski, Brian Demolisher Del Pozo, Julissa the Jaguar, and Random Rocio, the Courageous Kunaladas, Kefis the Incorruptible, the Great Destroyer Hyper Viper 89, Momentum Mike Elliott, Starcrossed Catherine Stars, and Indestructible Indy Aaron. If you want to join the Palsverse and get a, I hope, cool comic book superhero or villain nickname, hit that $10 or more tier on Patreon and help us out. Marco,
NFTs forthcoming.
sorry?
NFTs forthcoming.
No. I think that will be the thing that further fractures the pals. We can't
no.
have that.
Oh no.
Marco put his newsletter out this week. He was next up. Marco talked about the dreaded M word on this podcast. Talked about manga.
Oh, okay.
Shivers.
Okay, yes.
That M word.
Yeah.
That M word, yeah. Yeah, manga. You guys know I read it, and you guys know I love the love stories there in between. I described my first introduction to manga, and it all started with a girl.
Big shock.
You know, in my life,
Yeah, it's pretty. Sounds appropriate.
par for the
We'll see
course.
what this next girl gets you into.
Oh God, I'm not ready for there to be a next girl.
I don't think anybody
Listen,
is.
I'm not either, but it's a new season of Marco, so
You got to follow what happens, right?
that's right.
That's fair. So, yeah, if you want to watch this show live and watch us fumble the bag to try to bring this show to you, then you can do so by tuning in at twitch.tv/thecomicspals at 10:15 a.m. Roughly, depending on who's here and who's not.
Right.
For those of you who are just tuning in, Tyler's not here, so technical difficulties are to be expected. But thank you for being patient. Anyways, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern for Pals Pulls. We had a pretty good time this past Thursday. Hang out with us. Join us. Book club. Our next book club is Uncanny Avengers by Rick Remender, Daniel Lacuna, and several other artists. That will be dropping in 2 Tuesdays, so June 7th, the first Tuesday of the month. This was actually voted on by Patreon subscribers, so shout out to all you who took part in the vote. Really appreciate that. That's going to be a great time.
Thanks, Patreon.
Thanks for making us read 22 comics. It was my pick, so I'm happy about it, but it is what it is. And last but certainly not least, join us on Discord, where we are always having a really fun time. We're about to read listener comments, which came directly from the Discord. Some of them. Most of them came from YouTube, admittedly. But on that note, Kale, why don't you take it away?
Sure. So the first comment is from Dan Trudeau, the perpetual commentor. He says, my number one comics plot twist was Swamp Thing wasn't Alec Holland.
Let's go.
A plant who thought he was. That melted my young brain when I read it many years ago. Daredevil can pull off a tone shift without a full reboot, as you guys mentioned. Things were looking more up for Matt and the gang at the end of season 3. In fact, they could do the same thing Wade did by having Matt decide on a more positive outlook after surviving so much darkness. The tone of the show would follow and fit better on Disney Plus. And the Matt who showed up in No Way Home already seemed more upbeat. You could introduce a whole new status quo to these shows by using the blip. D'Onofrio said in his mind that Kingpin was different because of how those 5 years changed him. The other characters could follow suit. In terms of Iron Fist, who shouldn't be there, sorry, that was me editorializing, I think he could be a supporting player for Shang-Chi going forward. It would allow him to exist without the mighty whitey trope. That is a phenomenal name for that trope.
Great term.
Thanks,
Great
Dan.
term.
Appreciate the comment as always. Yeah, I think we kind of laid that out. We kind of laid that idea out in the episode that they could do sort of a lighter tone Daredevil. Would it feel inconsistent with what came before? Yeah, but I don't think that's out of line for Daredevil.
Yeah, and there's definitely just room to do stuff. The House of Mouse has stories to tell, and I'm sure they're capable of doing so. So
we actually have an update this week to that. Yeah. So actually, Kristen Ritter. I don't know if she was spotted or it's just outright confirmed. I believe she was spotted filming a Marvel Studios production.
interesting.
So obviously, I mean, you put two and two together, that she's there to perform as Jessica Jones. So that pretty much, I guess I can't say it absolutely confirms the return and the canonicity of all of that stuff, but it's pretty well close to it. because of the multiverse, we can't actually like say anything is anything. But I would be pretty comfortable saying that that's what's likely, that they're continuing on in some form or fashion with those actors and saying yes, these things did happen.
Hopefully not all of them anyway.
I like the Iron Fist idea, but only to some degree. I like Iron Fist, and I don't want there to not be one who does his own thing and isn't just a sidekick. I don't think that's, how Iron Fist should be portrayed. So I hope that they find a way around that, even if I didn't like Finn Jones.
Recasting is the easiest thing you could possibly do.
I'm with it.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the next comment is from Anthony Kokur.
Sure.
Kolkor, I don't know.
Sorry, Anthony. I've got to get this off my chest. With the coming of Dark Crisis, I was stoked. I've never read Josh Williamson before, but his plan for the next DC event looked ambitious. I'm a diehard Swamp Thing and Grant Morrison fan.
Yeah.
So when I saw that the Great Darkness, aka the Great Evil Beast from Swamp Thing, and the Empty Hand from Multiversity would be honored, I couldn't wait. Then I read Justice Incarnate, and I was massively let down. Williamson, for me, missed the mark on what these entities really represented. The GEB was a nuanced form of darkness that was not inherently evil, and the EH was the reader's need to be constantly fed material ad nauseum because, well, their hands were empty when they finished the comic. Here, these concepts seem dumbed down and cheapened for Crisis punch-ups. What were rich, texturized concepts seem wasted. Granted, there's still much more story to follow, but my question is, for you guys, has a writer ever botched a character or concept that removed you completely from the comic? Sorry for the rant. Love your show. Don't
Thanks
you
for the
dare
love.
apologize.
We love rants.
2 for 2 on the Swamp Thing train this morning. It's a good day.
Yeah, a lot of smart people love Swamp Thing. What happened to you?
Ooh, big brains.
Just kidding. So yeah, let's just answer the question. Has a writer ever botched a character or concept and it removed you completely from the comic? And I'll amend that a little bit, because sometimes the end of the story is what, alienates you from the character. So has that ever happened also? Like, has the story ever ended in such a way where you're like, wow, I can't fucking care about him anymore or her?
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind for me is Flashpoint. I've spoken quite a bit about how much I hate that event, but it started with Barry Allen coming back into regular DC canon, and then just the whole reset it felt like it came out of nowhere. And Flashpoint, the event itself, it was bad and it didn't make sense. And then it led to the New 52, which for me was just all of it was just, most of it was just garbage.
During the New 52, that's when I sort of discovered a love for Aquaman, and during the course of it, I had a great time with Jeff Johns, some of the people that picked up afterwards, Ivan Reis. The art was always good, the stories were always really, really on point, and it wasn't until maybe towards the back half of the, definitely like later in the issues of New 52, maybe around, I want to say the 40s or something, I think Cullen Bunn came on board, and I was super excited. I was a huge Cullen Bunn boy at that time because of Harrow County.
Bun boy.
Bun boy. And he came on and he just had this whole tone shift. His whole thing was like horror focused, and it didn't really fit the character, and the art as well got really murky compared to some of the bright colors that had been established because of Ivan Reis, and it cohesively it didn't just mesh well, and I ended up dropping the book after maybe 3 or 4 issues. I'm like, I can't get through this stuff. On paper I should be loving everything that's happening. It's horror, it's Aquaman, it's Bunn, it's I forgot the artist at this point, but it just didn't work and I fell off it.
So the easy, obvious answer is Wally West post Heroes in Crisis. That was insane what they did to that character. Love Tom King, but I think even he's since admitted that was kind of a miss on a podcast, and they've since retconned that anyway. So, but my like personal answer is everybody who's written Jean Grey since.
I knew it.
Yeah, since like literally since her resurrection, her actual resurrection, all of that. I just don't think Marvel has done a good job with her. They haven't really had plans for her. She feels like an afterthought. When people aren't joking about her being in a threesome, they're not really talking about her at all. And I see her in the comics, but she's not really doing anything. When I first saw Jean Grey in a comic book, it was New X-Men by Morrison, and that had already come and gone. Like when I started reading comics, It was over, but I was so happy that she was alive because I didn't expect that. I know her to be dead, so she's a main part of that story. She's a major factor there, and her death in that is a big action moment. It's a great moment. She hasn't had a moment since she came back. Since Rosenberg resurrected her, she's done nothing, and it sucks. Yeah, it really sucks. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Have you not enjoyed the characterization with the Hickman stuff, or is it just you want to see her do more?
The characterization has been okay, but she just, I don't know, she just doesn't do anything. She's like they're trying to do things with Storm, and it's kind of working now, but I feel like both of them have been irrelevant. And Storm's more relevant, but still not like making decisions relevant. She's not doing things that cause things to happen, or saving the world or whatever. She's just she has a title, but that's not enough.
She's reacting right now to whatever else is going on. She's not the causing it. She's not the driver of that stuff.
Yeah, and we'll see how X-Men Red continues to develop her, but for now that's how I feel. But thank you for the comment, Anthony.
Oh, thought that was me.
Oh, did I cut?
You're back. You're back. You're
here. All right. I was just saying thank you for the comment, Anthony.
Yeah, cool. This one is from Harris, the Night Stalker. Uh-oh. Is the Twitch feed okay?
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah,
it is back.
Just
okay,
a little.
Cool. Little hiccup. All right, Harris, the Night Stalker. Here's another random question for you all. If you had to write for a rogues-led team book, which rogue gallery would you write for? Bonus points if it's not Batman or Spidey. I believe it would be interesting to revive some JSA rogues, which have long been forgotten. Yeah, JSA ones would be cool. They're old comic booky shit. Wizards and...
Wizards.
More wizards, I guess.
Wizards and wizards.
Wizards and wizards.
More than I can come up with.
And thank you for the question, Harris, who is watching us live right now.
Lay.
Booyah.
Yeah. Did you have a answer, Kale, outside of that?
Flash. Easy.
Yeah.
I would love to tackle a Flash Rogues book. Captain Cold, come on.
I love how Batman and Spider-Man are disqualified from this, but the rogues are literally the rogues. That's Flash's rogues, and he's available. Like, that's the easiest option. I'm not going to choose it, but yeah, for sure. And I think that would fit you, really well, obviously. Yeah.
I've always thought of...
Swamp Thing.
I was going to say the Spirit.
Okay.
The Spirit is like noir, crime characters or mob bosses. There are also like side stories within the series with Mr. Mystic and Lady Luck, who are these two sort of ancillary characters. One is this master of mysticism, the other one is this spy sort of lady, and within that there's just a plethora of characters to pick from, beyond just like the Octopus or John Law and things like that. Like, there's a lot there.
Even if you did something with the Octopus, that would be revolutionary for that title.
Yeah, like for sure.
Could you name 5 villains of the Spirit?
That's one thing I probably couldn't do, and most of them would be like femme fatales.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Octopus, Pagel.
Like, yeah. Those would be the only 2 I could do off the back of my head, like hand. And I think Sans Serif probably one.
Sans Serif, yeah, that's a great one.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I think if you asked me this without a qualifier, I'd probably still choose this. The X-Men.
Okay.
I love the X-Men's Rogues Gallery. I think it's underrated. When you talk about villains that have a lot of them like inherent tragedy to them because of the fact that they're mutants. A lot of them do what they do as a reaction to the persecution that mutants get, especially when you're talking about like the Brotherhood. Apocalypse is a representation of like the ultimate mutant who doesn't have any ounce of Xavier's dream in him. He's got his own dream. But he doesn't even have Magneto's like care for mutants. Like, Magneto genuinely loves mutants and he wants them to be free and happy, but he goes about it in, if you feel like it's a wrong way, he goes about it in an extreme way. Apocalypse takes that and just throws it out the window and goes all the way. You have mutant haters. You have machines built to kill mutants in the Sentinels. Like, it's so amazing. And then you have like the completely zany shit like Mojo and Arcade that don't even fit that mold, but they're a lot of fun. So yeah.
Would you pick a selection of mutants, or would they be like outside of that, like a Mojo and like a Arcade?
If I had to do a book based on the Rogues specifically, it would be a Brotherhood book, and I think it would be, a very dark and serious Brotherhood who've just gotten fed up and they have a plan that's really bad and hurts a lot of people, and the X-Men have to stop them, and it sucks because they love them to some degree because they are mutants, but like they just did something really terrible and they have to get put down, something like that.
Do you think anybody's ever written a Sentinel book? A book from the perspective of a Sentinel?
No. The
So
closest
there's an issue.
The closest we've gotten that I know of is, with some more of like the Nimrod focused stuff, but even then, and that's probably like my favorite, maybe not favorite, but like top 3 X-Men villain is the Sentinel.
Yeah.
Magneto, Apocalypse, Sentinel.
But in the Krakoan era, they're not going to be the same kind of bad guys, though.
Sentinels?
Well, I mean, the Magneto, let's say.
The Brotherhood. I wouldn't do it in the Krakoan era.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no like Rogues Gallery for the X-Men now. It's it's Orcus and Plant Ladies or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Different countries, all that.
yeah, exactly.
The growing grandmas.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really good question, Harris. I immediately thought of the X-Men, but I was like, man, like I would love to hear someone have said Superman and see how you would, do that.
Yeah, it would have been my second pick, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's places to go with that. I think Daredevil, for like a real Daredevil fan, you could do some cool stuff there too. So yeah. I think that most Rogues Galleries are underrated and underappreciated, and not just by fans. I think I would love to see more writers test themselves and use villains that aren't like the most obvious 1, 2, or 3 that you could do. And I think it's harder because you don't know how much time you're going to have on the book and, all that kind of stuff. But I would just like to see people branch out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
This is off topic but related. I listened to a D&D podcast called Rude Tales of Magic, and there's a specific episode where the gang gets on a boat, and then the next episode the perspective shifts and they're being chased by witch hunters, and all of a sudden the players are witch hunters, and they're new to the whole experience, the witch hunter game or whatever, and you get to know them. They have little relationships and secrets and all that, and there's a big tragedy that happened previous to this episode to the witch hunters, so they play off that. And then they meet the player characters on the boat, and they fight the player characters as the witch hunters, destined to lose, right?
That's crazy.
It was incredible.
Wow. That's pretty cool. You know what else is pretty cool? The Thor Love and Thunder trailer that dropped this week.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not going to play it. I don't want to break anything. But we can talk about it. I assume you guys have seen it. Sorry?
Watch along.
Yeah, go for it. The first trailer that we got last week was, a little teaser trailer last week, whatever it was. It was a teaser trailer that didn't show too much. This trailer takes some of those ideas that are present in that one. Oh, shit. It takes some of the ideas that are present in that one and it expands on them. You get to see a little bit more of everything though. So we get more buff Natalie Portman, which is pretty cool. We see Gore, the God Butcher. I don't know if he was in the last trailer. I don't remember, but he's
so.
Yeah, but he's very much in this one. We see that Thor's got feelings for Natalie Portman still, but he's being immature about it, which, I was like, all right, great. Thor's still immature. We learn Gore's agenda. Gore wants the death of the gods. Right up front, I want to talk about Gore. I don't know. I don't think he looks good.
He does look good. Natalie Portman in those arms, bro.
Yeah. So Gore's all white. For those of you who can't see it, he's but it's Christian Bale bald.
Yeah.
With white paint. That's what it looks like. And that's what it is.
Yes.
And I guess that's their intent, but I don't know if I think that looks very good.
He looks like an older Christian Bale, and he's just it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because we've obviously talked about in contrast to She-Hulk, and how it would have been nice if we had seen some practical effect to it and might have made the CGI a bit softer. And here they go totally the opposite. They just slap on some primer on this guy and he's ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I think they probably wanted to do him a little different because they appropriated some of his stuff to Hela. His ability to pull weapons out of him and that specific weapon that she uses and stuff. That's all Gore's deal. Which it's funny that Taika did that and then used Gore in the immediately following movie. That sucks. Go ahead.
What is he typically like? I'm just Googling him now. He looks like a little green dude.
Gore's all black.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's not all white at all.
No. Well, sorry, maybe I'm misremembering. Am I crazy? No, I guess he is. He's not all black. He has a black cape, and there's tendrils coming out of him and stuff. Yeah. So he is white with the black cape and stuff. So I guess it's I don't know. I I don't know. I don't think it looks very good, even so.
We had talked about it a few episodes ago. I'm trying to remember which one, but where what kind of actor can take you out of a movie if you see them, and this was definitely one of those instances where, oh, this is Christian Bale. Oh, this is a movie. Okay.
Hey, what's up, Shenron? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining. Yeah, like, you know, we watched The Batman, and if Colin Farrell had just been Colin Farrell playing the Penguin, I do think that would have been distracting.
Yeah.
And so they, you know, did something completely different, and it worked out really, really well. I don't know that they needed to go to that extreme with Christian Bale, and Marvel tends to, like, I would say they tend to cover their actors up a lot less than DC does. But still, like, it just could have looked better, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure. Ratty ass white dude just like walking around.
We also see I mean, there's some beautiful visuals. It does look really good. It looks awesome. There's the confirmation of Russell Crowe playing Zeus.
Yeah.
There's a shot where he like strips Thor naked, and there's like you see his ass, but it's like blurred out. And there's a debate on the internet like, oh, will Thor's ass be unblurred in the film?
That's
yes.
so funny.
Yes. We will
absolutely.
We will see Asgard's ass.
Nice.
Yeah.
The
Or
ass
like-
of Asgard's ass.
Absgard.
Yeah, they're like this is full himbo.
Yeah.
100%. Like they couldn't lean into it anymore. I don't think it's possible.
Fan service, bro.
I'm with it. Like
anime.
it's not fan service for me, but I'm so happy for all the people who it is fan service for. For the fact that we've had, you know, Scarlett Johansson in the MCU for all these years, looking as only as good as she can look. For the fact that we've had Elizabeth Olsen. It's time for everyone else, for who that's not for, to get what they need. And I'm glad for that.
I feel like it's mostly been the men though. You had your Chris Evans, you know, Haley Atwell peck touch scene.
Yeah.
You got your Chris Pratt, you know, in the Guardian shower or whatever.
Right.
Thor has one like every
Every
other film, and he's been in the most.
Yeah, you're as far as like, you know, cheesecake stuff, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've really not done much with the women as far as that goes. I just meant like for the fact that I get them on screen, and then, like that, it's never gonna be more than that. You know, they're never gonna show, you know, Scarlet Witch's ass. You know, we're never gonna see Wondagor's ass. So I'll take it. You know, I'll take just her presence. But, you know, have fun with Thor. Please.
heard it here first. Sean will take those cheeks.
Whose cheeks? Scarlet Witch?
Which trailer are we watching again?
Right.
Listen, don't bother me. Look, Thor looks like that. I'll take those cheeks. That's fine by me.
I mean, can Jane Foster show some skin maybe?
Are you kidding? You saw those triceps?
Yeah.
I'll take those arms.
Yeah. I'll take those arms, take those cheeks. Hey, you know what? I'll take this movie.
I'll take it too. I'm into it. It looks very good. I hope that there's a story with heart, and it's not just, you know, a fun romp.
Thunder.
Yeah, I want more from my Thor.
Wants the love, not just the thunder.
I want the death.
Excuse
You
me.
know, I want the death. I want the tragedy, man. I want some heavy stuff.
Do you, and question, because you've read the whole Jason Aaron run, right?
Not the whole. I read. I finished the Jane Foster like
Arc.
arc. Yeah.
So is the expectation, from your understanding, that we're not getting what's his face anymore? It's just gonna be Lady Thor.
You mean like Thor Odin's son?
Yeah, moving forward.
Chris Hemsworth.
I am very confident that he will still be Thor by the end of this. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if anything, Jane Foster is the one that will die of cancer at the end of the movie.
Interesting. Okay.
But I think it's more likely that they just let her be. But I also don't think... I think Thor's got to get Mjolnir back, though. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm down. I'm interested. This is intriguing. This is interesting, and I like that they're driving these two characters into each other, because it's gonna be the outcome will be interesting for sure.
Yeah. No more trailers after this. I don't want to. We're not going to cover that anymore.
Oh, thank God.
Until the movie comes out. I just want the movie to come out. I'm at that point in my life where, like, I don't want to watch. I don't need multiple trailers. Give me the teaser. Give me the one juicy trailer, and that's it.
I'm good.
No more. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. If they hadn't put out the last two trailers, I probably would have enjoyed it like 10% more, because then I wouldn't have known about Professor X at all. I wouldn't have known about who else did I knew about a few people going in. No, that one was a surprise. Was it? No, it wasn't. I knew about that. Yeah, I knew about that, and I knew about Captain Carter. There was a trailer that showed them. Yeah. And I got spoiled on comicbook.com.
That's right.
Yeah. So, we're all excited for Thor. The internet is excited for Morbius.
Let's get Morbin. It's Morbin time.
Joking about Morbius, that is. And joking about Morbius. So this
the internet doesn't do that.
The internet doesn't joke.
They're a serious place.
I forgot I had pictures. So the internet is memeing Morbius so much that they're making it look like we want more Morbius. I'll explain. So this week is like the third week in a row or something that Morbius is trending on Twitter.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right.
Morbius has just been trending on Twitter for some weird reason, because the internet keeps memeing it. Also, Morbius is the top film streaming on Vudu.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Also, Apple TV has Morbius, and it's the most popular movie streaming on Apple TV.
Incredible. You guys are idiots.
Yeah.
You should do what I do and go on Tumblr and watch the whole thing in a GIF.
It's unbelievable. They're calling it the summer of Morbius. The summer of Morbius. Internet,
sweep.
Stop. Okay, stop now. You don't realize what you're doing. There was a Twitch stream. It got shut down, but there was a Twitch stream that was all Morbius. It was 24 hours a day Morbius streaming. Obviously, you're not allowed to do that, but they were doing it, and people were watching. I wish I had watched it. It got 10,000 views.
Dude, who doesn't want to watch Morbius? I think it even comes out today on distribution platforms.
I hate it.
I better go get it on Blu-ray, actually.
You better not, dude.
You're gonna have to, dude. Yeah, VHS.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go to Tumblr. Tumblr.com/Morbius.
This is just unbelievable. Is
the expectation here that with this because we're absolutely getting a Morbius 2, right? Like, hands down.
It's unconfirmed, but that's what I'm saying. Internet, stop fucking around. This is a plea. I'm begging you. Stop it. Don't do this. They will greenlight that fucking movie, and I know that's not what you want. I know it's not what you want. We're going to have a Venom 2 a Venom situation on our hands. First Venom was solid. But they will greenlight this movie. And the second one, however good you might think Morbius has, whatever the first one has, I guarantee you the second one will not have it.
Oh, I don't think people are doing this because it's good.
They're not.
Yeah.
But like,
I think
do you know how like a movie will be like so bad it's good, or like it's fun to watch?
Yeah.
Even though it's bad, the next one will not even have that. That's what I'm saying. It's not gonna be fun to watch. You're gonna want to kill yourself watching this movie.
Syl Stevenson in the chat brings up a good point. We need to spare other actors from Jared Leto.
That's a good point too.
If we get Jared Leto on Morbius all the time, if we always have Jared Leto Morbin, we can keep him busy so no one else has to act with him.
Well, but that's the thing. We need a sequel so he can say his infamous catchphrase. It's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time.
Yeah.
God, you know that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Oh my god.
Marvel is gotta be just rolling in their grave right now. They're dead, obviously, because they want to be memeable so bad. But the internet is going out of its way. I watched the film as a GIF on tumblr.com/hashtag Morbius. And like, Marvel can't do anything.
I'd like to make one amendment in that. Marvel is not dead. They are undead.
Well, yeah, of course. They're the evil dead.
Right.
I want to be dead because Morbius is still in the conversation. I can't believe this. I thought this movie was dead and buried. I thought we were done and dusted with this. But as it turns out, it's still Morbin time. And I want out. I can't do this anymore. I go on Twitter and I look in the right-hand corner and I see what's trending and I see Morbius. Why?
Why not?
You're the problem,
Morbius.
Marco. You're the problem. You're the one who says why not. You're the one who says why not.
You don't say no to stuff, man. You say yes. You go along for the ride. That's all it is. You know, I'm here. I'm waiting for the ride. That's it.
Terrible. I
Listen,
can't do it.
I'm gonna be Morbin.
Get your swim trunks on. It's Morbin time.
Hell yeah.
Oh my
Summer
God.
Morbo.
Well, let's talk about Fan X. Anyone know what Fan X is?
Is it the next villain in Venom 2, the Morbin Saga?
The next Marvel legend.
Yes, you're right. Fan X is the Salt Lake Comic Convention. All right?
Okay.
Now, a few years ago, what is now known as Fan X was called Comic-Con, if I remember correctly. And they were sued by San Diego Comic-Con,
Yeah.
and they lost. They
did?
lost to the tune... Fan X lost.
Oh, right. They did.
Yeah. They lost to the tune of, what was it, $4 million? Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah. They lost $4 million. So, the co-founder... Oh, so they changed their name to Fan X, obviously. Brian Bradenberg is the co-founder, one of the co-founders of Fan X. He actually had to take a leave of absence due to allegations against... he mishandled allegations of harassment.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's not great. But this week, my man Brian Bradenberg was charged. Brian Berg, I love that, was charged with allegations of bomb threats
Ooh, don't like that.
across Salt Lake City San Diego, the Matheson Courthouse, the University of Utah, the Salt Lake Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints,
Okay.
and the Federal Courthouse of San Diego. Ooh. My man is a terrorist.
That's fucking wild. What are we thinking here?
It's wild that this is the first I'm hearing about this.
Oh
Right?
my god, dude. It's so funny. This is comics adjacent, I guess, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, Brian Bradenberg is Osama bin Laden in the flesh, making terrorist bomb threats all over Salt Lake City and San Diego. My man is pissed. So here are the emails, right?
The emails, dude. This guy's name, it feels like an old timey kind of thing. Brian Bradenberg, bound to bomb the buildings and buildings. It's like what?
Yeah. Yep. So there's several different emails, and I don't have like all the email details, but I believe these are all from the same day. So here we go. 6:59 a.m. All right. So think for me real quick the times that you've been awake at 6:59 a.m. How many of those times?
Every day.
Okay, hear me out. How many of those times you were sending an email, and how many of those times the email was unrelated to your work? All right, just think about that.
A few times.
6:59 a.m. Thanks for finally sending my divorce decision. You can still fuck the fuck off.
There it is. That's what it was.
You know what? His tone there is absolutely right.
So he was upset that he felt like his divorce deal was taking a while. That's the context there. 7:08 a.m. All right. This is not even 10 minutes later. We're still going to bomb the 3rd District Courthouse. Have a nice day.
Damn, dude. Yo, I just opened this up. He misspelled have. He has a typo in have.
HAE. Hey, a nice day.
Not.
Hey, y'all, a nice day. I'll blow you up.
Oh my God. Sylv says I have to get up at 4:30 for work. That is brutal. Do you mind sharing what you do? I'm just curious. I won't say it on the show if you don't want. That's rough. I have a couple of friends who wake up really early like that, but they drive. One of them drives truck. The other works for UPS. So third one, 7:26 a.m. So now he's had a little bit of time to think about this madness.
A little bit of coffee. Maybe
Yeah.
have to go to the bathroom.
Yep, maybe a little breakfast in you. Now we're going to bomb the state capitol.
So probably not breakfast.
Yeah. 2 minutes later. And then ... we'll bomb the mayor's office.
Jesus. This guy was on one.
This dude is on a rampage. Who's a comic book villain that like bombs things? I can't even think of one.
Oh, who's that one guy from Batman Beyond? His whole thing is blow it up.
I don't know. I think his name is Brian Bradenberg.
The only blow him up villain I can think of is from The Incredibles, Bon Voyage.
Oh, that's
remember
so
the
good.
mime at the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's this guy.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Mad Stan. That was this guy's name.
Okay. Mad Bradenberg. 7:34. And then we're going to level the sacred temple. 7:37. And then we'll level the Rockefeller Center in NYC.
What the fuck?
So this guy's got a network of bombs that he set up across the country. My man is a dangerous threat to the world. Like, and then this one at 8 a.m. Now, most people are awake. Most people are in their life at 8 a.m. This is all caps. And now, we're bombing every Ivy League school, starting with MIT, Yale, and Harvard. That's how it's written.
What?
What is
What?
What's the thought? Like, what's the end goal here? Why travel? I'm
Chaos.
assuming.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering. Maybe this guy just really wanted to go to jail.
He probably owes money.
I mean, $4 million, right?
Yeah.
This guy owes money.
Wow.
So, then the last one was, we're bombing the federal courthouse in San Diego to teach them a lesson. That was 8:38. So 38 minutes after he was bombing every Ivy League school.
Yeah. What's weird about that one is that one makes sense.
To teach them a lesson about to teach them a lesson about what? Delaying his divorce? Like, I don't get it.
And the San Diego thing and
San Diego thing? Comic-Con? Right, yeah.
Situation.
Okay,
yeah. But like the Church of Latter-day Saints, like I don't know, I'm just mad.
Yeah, what did they do?
Some missionaries came to my door the other day. I'm fucking tired of it.
Rockefeller Center. That's such a specific place. Like,
yeah. Ivy League schools.
Like, this guy was planning to travel the country, just like implementing these things, and for what?
Oh, I love that.
My dude runs a comic convention in Salt Lake City, and he probably focus on that. Make sure that shit doesn't bomb.
Yeah. I mean, we've never talked about Fan X, but we're talking about Brian Bradenberg for being a terrorist. Sil Stevenson says, this guy's a Powerpuff villain. I love that.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's good. So, I hope that Brian Bradenberg enjoys the 2 minutes of fame and the maximum punishment of 15 years in prison. Oof. If he's convicted, which they have you an email saying you're going to do this. They're not going to find bombs, obviously. Like, the dude didn't have a network of bombers. But I do think, I think if you make these kind of claims in any environment, you should go to jail for some amount of time. You're a nut.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in this day and age, like,
yeah, that's not a
joke.
You
can't just do that. Like,
yeah.
Who is he emailing, by the way?
I don't know.
Right, like the person receiving these things was like, "Oh no, I must have gone drinking last night."
He was emailing. This is even better. He was emailing media people,
like newspapers.
The various people. He was gonna murder them too.
Fucking champ.
Yeah. Oh my god. Unbelievable. This dude is a mess. Absolute mess. Thanks for giving us content, Brian Bradenberg. I appreciate it. Glad you didn't bomb Rockefeller City or Rockefeller Center. That would have sucked. I mean, any of these would have sucked. But yeah.
Oh boy, what an afternoon on the Comics Pals.
Seriously. How do you move on from that? Let's talk about Batman versus
Bombs away.
Robin. There might be bombs flying when Batman faces off with his son, Robin, in September. We're getting a mini event by Mark Waid. So Mark Waid dipping his toes into the event sector of DC Comics, which is interesting. Should be fun. He's teaming up with Mahmoud Asrar, who I really love, and Nathan Fairbairn for a 5-issue series. Now, for those of you who maybe missed the boat on Grant Morrison's run on Batman, in the Batman and Robin book, there's a Batman versus Robin arc. But in that, it's actually Dick Grayson, who's Batman at the time, facing off, sort of, with Damian.
Okay.
So I doubt there's any relationship between the two stories, but this is father and son this time. So, and then interestingly, this is actually spinning out of World's Finest. So yeah, so a little interesting wrinkle is that in World's Finest, we've been seeing the villain Neza. I don't know if you guys remember Neza.
Vaguely.
So Neza's like the ancient villain who has all this magical power and all that stuff. They set it up way back way back. It's only like 4 issues of it. They set that up in the first issue.
Is that the reason Robin and Supergirl go back in time or whatever?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Robin's
okay.
magic pants or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Neza coming into the present. And
Right.
Okay.
like basically taking the powers of magic users in DC and upping their power level to like dangerous and chaotic levels.
Huh.
Yeah.
And that's gonna evolve into Batman versus Robin.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
See that? Yeah, for sure. Is it it's interesting because I feel like I remember we covered a story about like these new issues that were coming out, and one of them was in particular for Batman and Robin, and there was like this very nostalgic cover. You guys remember?
I
And
don't.
it looked like in one of them, because of that nostalgia, it looked like there was this. We had made an assumption that potentially Robin might like die or something, or there was going to be some situation with him.
I don't. Is it possible at all that you're talking about the Superman
yeah.
his son cover?
Oh yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay,
Yeah.
that is
Love that cover, by the way.
very
Just
good.
can't wait to
Yeah.
get that. So, look, am I excited about, Batman versus Robin? Not necessarily. I like Mark Waid, so I'll pick it up for that. And the Nezu villain, Neza rather, that was set up in that issue and in that World's Finest story arc. I like the fact that that's gonna be something. Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. I feel rewarded
Yeah.
for having read World's Finest, so that's gonna influence my decision making as well. What I really like about this is twofold. One, Mark Waid on a mini event. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I would really like to see what Mark Waid could do if he was given something bigger. To be honest, I'd be really interested to see what would have been if he were writing Dark Crisis.
Ooh, interesting.
Mark Waid knows the DC universe as good as anybody. I mean, you put him up there with Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison, as some of the people who really know it.
Yeah, better than those people, probably.
You might be right, and he can tell a damn story. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever read a Mark Waid Batman story.
Does Kingdom Come count?
No, because that's not a Batman story. That's a DC Universe story. And that's the thing. He's written a lot of things with Batman. And, they've all been very good, but I don't know that he's done... I could be wrong. I don't know that he's done a Batman run.
Right. Well,
Yes.
he's getting to write Batman for an extended period in World's Finest. Obviously, that's still not a Batman run, but I that's an interesting point still that I'm curious to see what his take is on Batman, because even World's Finest is not taking place right now. That's Silver Age, so this will obviously be Modern Age. The second thing, though, that I wanted to point out that I'm excited about is the fact that he already teased that World's Finest will another series will spin out of it here soon.
It's fun. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Similar premise. Well, I guess he hasn't really said much, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good to see more stuff coming out of him, and especially I think all of us pretty much enjoyed World Finest, so for sure.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mark Waid is an underrated pillar of comics in this day and age.
And I think a big reason for that is his exile from DC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's fucked up. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really screwed up. You're talking about someone who has a deep love and passion for the company, and he gets banned from writing for them. And not for anything like that was that crazy, right? Like, he didn't make bomb threats. for the DC offices,
Well, and the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Right. So it's just I'm excited for Mark Waid.
Yeah. I'll be excited to get him really back in the fold.
Yeah.
Because his old DC stuff is, it really stands the test of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wonder if he's gonna be back into the fold a bit more because of Dan Didio having left, because that was most of the fallout. I think was just that disagreement with him.
It was Didio. I think it was it Kale? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Paul Levitz factored in there?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Tyler would know.
Yeah, I feel like there was some kind of a clash. Yeah. I just quickly Googled it, and yeah, it's Dan Didio, Bob Harris, Paul Levitz. They didn't like him.
They want him out.
Yeah. So, I'm into it. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
so,
let's go.
Yeah. So, Mark Waid, would you say, Kale, that Mark Waid has written any of the best comics of all time?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say he's done that factors?
I would definitely put Kingdom Come in the conversation.
I would too. It's on my list.
Empire, I think it's called. I'm trying to double check. Yes, yeah, Empire, Mark Waid, Barry Kitson. That's phenomenal. Where a villain, sort of Doctor Doom-esque, called Golgoth, actually takes over the world, and then he has to administrate. It's a fascinating kind of like play on what if the bad guy won. Mm-hmm. And now he's like actually there. He's like, okay, how do I consolidate and contain power?
I like that.
It's had two arcs, I believe, or maybe just one. But it's real good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would also include Kingdom Come, and that's. I guess I don't have much of a familiarity with Mark Waid's work, really. Outside of that.
It's funny. I know I've read a ton of Mark Waid. I can't name a single other thing.
Right? Archie is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
And again, like I'm looking at his work, and so much of it is DC. So much. Yeah. It's wild. But it's funny because in our main topic, we're referencing a list that Book Riot put together, bookriot.com, of the best comics of all time, the 15 best comics of all time. Kingdom Come is on the list.
Good. All right.
No, well deserved.
All right, am I nuts? I thought it was on the list.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Sounds like a good list.
Well, we're gonna get into that right now. Let's just barrel through, no break. All right, we're here. Yeah. All right. So this was actually shared by a listener of ours on the Discord server, which we would love if you joined. Nihilus on Discord asked us what we thought about this list from BookRiot.com, and so here's how they describe it. The writer is Chris Arnone. And Chris says, the best comics of all time. What a tall order. Blah, 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 blah. How to choose the best comics of all time? I set a few rules. I decided not to double up on creators or titles. Alan Moore is undoubtedly one of the greatest comic book writers of all time, but he's only on this list once. I'm not letting my love of Batman or X-Men overshadow many other incredible comics either. This list spans comic book stories from the big two, independent publishers, manga, blah, blah, blah. They're all varied or diverse. All right, so that's pretty much, the context that you need. I want to read through the choices here, and I want to talk about, our feelings about this list. So, up front, I feel like top 10, top 15 best of all time lists, whatever amount, doesn't matter. They're highly subjective. Let's put that up front.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is this person's list. They're entitled to it 100%. Not going to really criticize their opinion. That's perfectly fine. The caveats, I don't agree with immediately. That a creator cannot appear more than once, that seems like a weird thing to put on your list. I think if you were trying to be accurate and there were multiple, say, Alan Moore books that belonged on here, then they should be here. I don't think that, like, you know, Swamp Thing should be excluded because Watchmen is better, you know, quote unquote.
Yeah, I get it. I agree. I think for the sake of variety, he's probably aiming for that, because I'm sure there's only so many Batman books that are also probably going to be on this list, and at that point, you know, make a Batman best of list. So I'm sure for the cleanliness of the writing, it's probably there. But yeah, agreed that just because we don't want to double down doesn't mean that there aren't other great books by these either characters or by these individual creators.
Right. So, all right, let's jump in. So, first up, we have American Born Chinese by Jean Lewin Yang. This is a book that was talked about a lot. It was an award, nominee. I'm sure it won awards as well. It's basically about like fictional stories from China, Chinese immigrants, probably interspersed with real experiences that Yang either had or knows about from people that he's known in his life. It's a coming-of-age tale. I want to say I read this for something in the past. The Old Place.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was fine.
I've not read this one. No, I've not read this one.
Yeah.
I hear good things. I know that it's usually included in the conversation for best of books, so I would say probably fitting to be here, but I can't be subjective with it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of that on this list. I think there's going to be a lot of books that people are going to say, "What is that? Who did this? Who are these creators?" And Matt made a point in the Discord, are these books even fun? Like, are these books even, they're these are the, like March is on here, for example. This is a, all-time great or whatever, but like, do people want to read this? Is it engaging? Is it like fun to read? We'll get into that more later. Full Metal Alchemist. So we have our first manga. I've obviously never read it. I've never seen the anime.
Oh, Sean.
I know. I've heard.
I saw the anime live action adaptation.
Oh, Kale.
Oh boy.
This is good stuff. This is genuinely a lot of fun, a lot of heart to the series. The art's incredible. It changes, it grows over the course of the series. It's not as refined at the beginning, and as it does, it gets tighter and tighter, which is nice to see. And the story is genuinely compelling. There's a lot of turns and twists, and all of the characters, I think, are serviced very, very well. This is definitely I'd put it here. Yeah.
Okay. The manga.
Yeah.
All right. Fun Home by Alison Bechdel.
It's a good book.
It is a good book. I'll give you that.
I've never read it. I heard about this book so much in like 2015.
Yeah.
That
the play was out then, I think.
I told myself I'm never fucking reading this. I never want to see this book.
Really?
I never want to hear the name Alison Bechdel again. It's nothing against this person at all. Not at all. I don't know who they are. It's just how much I had to hear about this book and the Bechdel test and Oh my god, it drove me nuts. So Fun Home is, a book that, has been banned multiple times. It's, on a lot of lists of this nature. It's autobiographical. It details Bechdel's childhood, coming out, dealing with depression and a variety of issues like that. It's got a musical, as Kale pointed out, I think. So, there's a lot going for it. But is it, like, one of the best comics ever made? I don't know.
I think the story is compelling. The way that I would consider best of, right, is you need to use the medium in addition to telling a good story in an interesting way. Because, yes, you can tell a compelling story and really drive characters and build this world. But if you're also not playing with the format unique to comics, then I don't know that you can say that this is an all-encompassing book from that end. And I think this is more of a cartoonist story. Alison Bechdel is more so a cartoonist in her style and in her art, and I think it works. It's done and executed incredibly well. And maybe that fun conversation kind of comes into this. This is much more of a serious, heady book, but I'd put other things before Fun Home.
Boy, I can't believe I'm going to go to bat for Fun Home, but
Oh, boy.
Here we go. I don't know. I think by your criteria, I think it does play with the form. I think the story it tells uses the form. Because it's about Alison Bechdel's coming out, but it's also about her relationship with her father and her slow realization that her father was actually a closeted gay man and he died. So I don't know. There, and it's been a while since I've read it, but I recalled that the book actually does a lot of playing with the form and using the art to portray the message.
I think the way that she uses the visual metaphors is really good, in contrast to the text. But I think there are more direct ways to use paneling and to use the shapes of panels. I think a lot of times she'll focus in on something, right? Like on a panel, it'll be, let's say, like a curtain or some sort of decorative piece, and then she'll intersplice like just raw text from some book that the father was reading. And I think that those are ways to use it, but I feel like there are better ways to present those same moments.
I don't necessarily want to get into like a review of it, guys.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about Inuyasha.
Cal's wrong. Yep.
Wow.
I haven't said anything about Inuyasha yet, bitch.
I have no familiarity with this. I remember the anime would come on. I'd be watching Toonami.
Yeah.
And
Inuyasha comes on. That's when you know to turn the channel.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
100%.
You guys didn't watch Inuyasha?
Hell no.
Really?
Nope.
I've only watched it. I've never read it.
I wasn't. If they whispered the word demons, I wasn't allowed to watch it. So.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
I was lucky to watch what I got to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a frame of reference for this at all, but the Discord was saying like this is not it.
No way.
There are better Rumiko Takahashi books that could be on this list, aren't there?
I'm not familiar with
did she do Ranma?
Oh,
I think it's someone else.
Really? No, I think she's in Mermaid Saga, Ursa,
Yeah,
Yatsura.
That's who that is.
No, is it? No, Ranma is something else. Ranma 1-2, right?
One half, yeah.
One
Ranma
half. No,
half.
that's somebody else, I think. Oh no, I lied. Yes, you're right. It is. She's right here.
Okay.
Yep.
Who's wrong now?
Damn, eat it.
Can't wait to get through this riveting podcast content.
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like even if you're gonna choose a manga that's like, as the language is used here by Chris, foundational, wouldn't Dragon Ball? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
then again, it's their
1,000%
taste. I'm
agree.
not like, whatever, right? But
You say it's their taste, but I have a theory about this whole list that we can probably get to once we get to the end of it. But
sure, all right.
I don't know.
So Kingdom Come is next. Look, I love Kingdom Come. I do think it has a place on this list, but the explanation for it being here is kind of rough to me. How to pick any one Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman story? Perhaps by choosing one of the greatest Elseworlds tales ever that heavily involves all three. I feel like this was included more as a way to not include other books than to actually say Kingdom Come belongs here over those books. Like, does Kingdom Come belong here over like, let's say, for example, The Dark Knight Rise, or The Dark Knight Returns, or Year One, or The Long Halloween? Up for debate. I would say no. I would say not over The Long Halloween, especially like if we're talking about like best of all time and encompassing the totality of it. I just don't see that. Not for me.
Yeah, and I think it's a way to see a bunch of heroes, a bunch of characters that and are familiar, in one shot,
Right.
Yeah.
versus taking the time to read a good story. And someone in our Discord, I can't remember who it was, said that, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but said that it's really the Alex Ross art that carries this book, and I don't wholly disagree.
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
it's an added bonus for sure. It helps to elevate it.
Yeah,
I love the story of Kingdom Come for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not. We're not talking about it right now this way without the Alex Ross art. No way.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not revelatory.
Let's talk about the next one, Lock and Key. Joe Hill, Gabriel Rodriguez.
Agree. I agree. I agree with this. This is 100%.
This would be in your
I've-
top 15.
Yeah.
It's good. It's real good.
All right.
It's real good. Yeah.
All right. March. Go ahead. You got more to say?
Oh, so well, I was just gonna say I haven't read all of it. I've read most of it, and it does something. It does different stuff.
Okay.
And the art is incredible. It tells a really killer story that works, well with the art, and is a very beloved book, and especially for when it came out.
It's also just brutal, like a brutal storytelling.
Yeah,
we might need
brutal art.
We might need a book club on that at some point.
I can't believe
so
you
down.
haven't read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. March. March is, again, it's the perfect example of one of those comics that's, it's a life story. It's the life story of John Lewis, and that's cool. But like, is like, does it do anything interesting with the form of comics? Does it like really, stand out as like, this is to understand comics, to truly engage with the medium, to like, I don't know if I don't know. It doesn't strike me that way, but I get why it would be on this list because of what I think about this kind of list.
Yeah.
Mouse is up next. By the way, sorry, before we go forward, did any of you read March? Either of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have all three.
And you think
I have it too, but I haven't read it.
You think it belongs here?
I don't think so. It's a great story. Real strong message, real strong representation, but I don't know if this is like a leisure book or something I go back to necessarily.
Mouse is up next. Speaking of leisure, Mouse by Art Spiegelman recently banned. Not leisure on any level. This is a graphic novel that's like a memoir, and it deals heavily with Nazi Germany and stuff like that, and what Jewish people had to go through. Art Spiegelman and his father, and it's a very good story. We did a book club on it. Very, very good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's in my top anything. Like, it's very good, but
I think it's probably, I don't say this with condescension or whatever. I think it's easy for you to say that because it's kind of outside your typical scope, right? But I think within like the history of comics, I think it's definitely one of the top contenders.
It's foundational in that way.
Yeah.
But I don't know that.
I don't think.
Put it here.
Yeah, I don't think my typical taste in comics matters here because if, like, I've read it and I enjoyed it a lot. I'm just saying that, like, in my mind, while it's very good, I don't know if it comes in 15 spots, over a lot of other things that I would think, especially like there's only one Alan Moore book. But yeah.
Five of these are also graphic memoirs.
Right.
Which is interesting, like a third of this.
Yeah. Shenron says, to me, most of the time I see top X best. It's more a list to keep in mind in case you don't have anything to read or interested in what people consider to be best of the best. Yeah, and that's definitely fair and a part of it. I would say that I think this list caters to a certain kind of person. And that's probably also what frustrates me, that the list... I want to get through this before we really...
That's it.
Yeah, all right. So next up is Miss Marvel. Look, you can't convince me of this. I'm sorry. G. Willow Wilson is amazing. Adrian Alphona. Miss Marvel's really good. It's not top 15 good. I get why it's here. The reason is very obvious, but I'm sorry. You can't sell me on this one.
Yeah.
Nah. Nimona by N.D. Stevenson.
N.D. Stevenson, yeah.
N.D., okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They used to be Noelle Stevenson, as it said.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
But they're a trans individual and did the big transition, so I think they go by N.D. now.
Oh, cool. All right, okay. Great. So yeah, N.D. Stevenson's National Book Award finalist book, so that's great. And it looks like it's kind of it's kind of like a play on the typical heroes and villains trope. I've never read it, so I can't comment on the quality.
Same.
It's very good. It's very, very good. I don't read webcomics, but when I was introduced to this, I couldn't stop reading it.
Okay.
I've got this book signed by N.D. Stevenson.
No way.
I love
That's
this
rad.
book. Yeah, it's about a villain who adopts a changeling, a shapeshifter, and the ensuing hijinks and the broader story of this villain's history and his relationship with the good guy, and they become a father daughter dynamic, and then the good guy falls in love with the bad guy, and it's a really good book.
Yeah.
Top of the genre, though. Top of the medium, though. Again.
Tough.
Right. Next up is One Piece.
I could see this.
I can see this by osmosis. I've not read it, but I get the hype.
In the way of like, in the same conversation as like Dragon Ball, I can definitely see why this would be there.
I have no opinion. I haven't read it. There's a One Piece card game coming out.
There you go.
Persepolis by Marjane
Persepolis.
by Marjane Satrapi. I have not heard of this. This is another graphic novel that's a memoir. Also often banned.
It's another one of these similar to Mouse and Fun Home that is in the curriculum in the the medium's canon.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's like we say, it's a graphic memoir.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've not read this. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
That stuff. I think there's a movie based on this as well.
Oh wow.
But
It's an animated one. Yeah.
is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I wouldn't put this there.
Saga. I think that lists like this love Saga a lot. I think Saga is very good.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say that a comic book that's not over should be on a list like this, because look, I don't think this will happen. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples are immensely talented and they've not really done wrong so far, but it could end bad. And then what? Do you amend the list to take it off?
all those years later.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know about that.
It's great, but
Yeah.
forthcoming to see what the end is.
The Sandman. Now we get to one that I will not at all in any way, shape, or form contest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you would. Oh, okay.
No, of course. It's like I've read a portion of it, what we did for the book club. That was fucking amazing, right? It wasn't the whole thing, but I certainly got a taste, and I was very pleased. And I know the word of mouth, and I know what people say about it. This is one of those comics that pushed past like just strictly comic book readers who go to comic shops every week. And I totally get why it did. It's annoying that it's like one of the only comics people ever want to talk about. Like, yeah, I've read Sandman, so I understand comics better than you do. But it deserves the way we talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
Usagi Yojimbo's up next. Can't speak to it. Kale, I know you love it.
Boy, this is going to be top of my list. 1,000%. Top of all time. I love this book. I love what Sakai does in this book. I think it's absolutely incredible. And I think the research and the stuff that goes into it, 1,000%. All time?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Not it.
And the last one's Watchmen. Again, not going to contest it. Watchmen is a classic for a reason. It's one of those comics, again, that push past just comics. There's a movie about it. There's a show about it. A show that, in my opinion, is better than the comic book. There's nothing to say about Watchmen. And it belongs on a list like this. If I was putting together a top 15 list, Watchmen would most likely be on it. But let's circle back to the conversation that we sort of danced around, which is that, this list feels like it caters to people who actually aren't interested in comics.
Casual readers.
This whole list reads to me like the bestsellers at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think lists like this do a disservice to comics. I don't think that they do a good job of representing what comics are. Why? Because there's nothing fun about this. Miss Marvel is a fun book, but Miss Marvel's not here because of how good it is. I'm sorry. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's here for representation reasons, and it's here for sort of what circles it rather than the actual quality. And again, I think it's very good. I'm not shitting on it in any way. I love it. But it's not top 15. And I have a hard time believing that the writer who did this actually thinks that it is. And that's kind of the frustrating thing.
Yeah. I think the bestsellers of Barnes and Nobles was a good comparison. I as we were going through, feel like maybe 3 total could be you can make an argument should be here. but everything else is either debatable or just outright like not. There's a difference to for people who actively read on a weekly basis, monthly basis, what they're going to be picking out. I feel like some of it's going to be a bit more current, and also less focused on graphic novels.
I also think this is an entirely different list in this, the year of our Lord 2022.
That's right.
This list reads like something from 2010.
And yet it's from a few days ago.
Yeah. Like Fun Home and Persepolis and what was the other one?
March.
No, not even necessarily March. Yeah, maybe Mouse, but those are deep, like autobiographical cuts, right? Like I went to comic book school, and that's the only reason I know about these, right? Like it's so I don't know. It's so 2010, like I said, like, you know, what sells? What's literary in the comic book medium?
That I think is the conversation. What is literary? Is how do you transition people who read books into comics versus that's not how you should be approaching it. You should be approaching it as how do you just get somebody into comics? And this is made for those. Okay, the expectation is that book readers are going to be reading memoirs and are going to be reading these long adventure tales. But like, was it probably sci-fi, action adventure, and your mystery, your crime thrillers are going to be the stuff that people read books, right? So cater to that, the genre, not the format or the form.
Yeah, I completely agree. I took a class with comics experience in 2010, and it was in person. It was one of the last in persons that they did, and maybe like I think there were like 8 of us, and probably half of those people were not active comic book readers, in the sense that they've read comics on a weekly or even monthly basis. When asked why they read comics, like what, we did like how'd you find comics? A lot of them said books that are here. Mm-hmm. Sandman was specifically mentioned like 2 or 3 times. Watchmen was mentioned. I want to say, what's that other book? I want to say Swamp Thing was mentioned. It's not on this list, but it was stuff like this, I remember hearing about some of this stuff at that point. And it's like, look, that's all cool, but could those people write comics? Like their baseline for what a comic book is and mine are not the same. And when that person goes to write a comic script, they're going to do something different because of what they understand about comic books. I don't think that if you read every book on this list, I don't think you would have an understanding of what comic books are. And it's hard for me to believe, and again, I admit my ignorance. There are books on this list I've not read. I'm not criticizing them based on my not having read them. I'm saying it's hard for me to take a list like this seriously when it doesn't have a single thing that's ever been done within the realm of X-Men. When the only Marvel thing is Miss Marvel. I can't... None of the top 15 best comics ever made came from Marvel other than Miss Marvel, something that just came out within this decade. Really?
What would you put instead of a Marvel book?
God.
Instead of a Marvel book, or instead
of this Marvel book.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think there are a few places you can go. You could do like I love God Loves Man Kills. I think that's phenomenal. I don't know that this would make my list, but like if you're talking about Spider-Man, you could always talk about Spider-Man Blue. I think that when you're talking about like representing comics, that's a classic in that way. And it represents Spider-Man, who I mean top 15 comics ever, what the fuck? And then my list gets it gets personal. It gets personal, and it includes things that others might not include for quality reasons, I guess. But like, to me, Secret Wars by Hickman, is a modern classic. I don't know. There's so many places you could go. You could talk about Chris Claremont's X-Men run. Like, there are no long comics runs. Inuyasha's here, right? One Piece is here, which is still going, but Chris Claremont's X-Men run doesn't count? Or is it included? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Yeah. And from DC, forget it. I think DC probably has more like classics overall than Marvel does. And there's what, 2 here?
Yeah, right. If that.
Yeah.
Sandman and Kingdom Come. Yeah.
Watchmen, I guess.
Watchmen.
Yeah.
Oh, Watchmen too. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So 3.
But still, there's more to do that. Like, for sure. What is it? Kingdom Come. We already talked about. We'd swap out for something else. Yeah.
My last thing with this list, and again, it's the author's perspective. I think that, like, Western comics too often nowadays are getting lumped in with manga, or manga's being lumped in with them, however you want to slice it. And I understand that they are comics too. But my issue is we should celebrate and highlight great comics of the Western style and format if you're trying to talk to people about comics. If you want to have manga gets its own list. Manga absolutely gets its own list. I want comics to be at the forefront. If you're gonna have books like, Fun Home and some of those other books and manga, you're only gonna be limited to like one Marvel book. Is that an accurate representation of comics to me? No.
But then I feel like that's not fair, because then we can't necessarily say that only Western comics are going to be the epitome of something. The same way we can't say that for European comics. The same way we can't see that for manga, right? We have to make those exclusions if we're talking about either subjective or about subjective quality, right? As much as I could put Swamp Thing up here, I'm also going to probably put I probably will put a Full Alchemist up here, or something by Junji Ito, because there is quality there that you have to consider.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that manga gets that. Manga gets its list. Manga sells, however many copies, and, does amazing. I'm saying I like the comics list to be, and I'm not saying like Western comics, like only comics made in the West. I'm saying that style. So I don't care what country it comes from. I'm just saying that kind of book, I want that to have its own space the same way manga gets its own space. Manga gets to be its own thing, and it gets to be in the conversation here with comics. I feel like comics get alienated.
Like, they don't get included in the top of comics and somewhere else.
You would never see a top manga list, and have like Western comics on it, right? Sure. It would just be manga. But a comics top list could include manga.
Do you think we should segment them though? I feel like it's not. I feel like we shouldn't separate them necessarily. We're gonna say just comics. It should be all of it.
But I'm saying manga gets its own list. Right? Like, manga gets to, when you could have a top 10, top 15 list of just that, and that's fine, and it would be whatever. But when you say comics, now you also have to include manga, which already gets to have its own space. Western comics don't get their own space. That's what I'm saying. In these conversations.
All right. Sylv wants to know. You got to bite the bullet. What are your tops?
Yep, and
Let's try to keep it 5. Let's go 5 each.
Yeah, that's how I wanted to end it. We'll do 5. Okay. Kale, are you out the gate? You have?
Okay. These are in no order,
Right.
and I'm gonna struggle with it.
Yeah.
The first one that comes to mind for me is a book called The Arrival. I believe it might be Swedish. It's an incredible sort of immigrant story done on. I think it's sort of a really sketchy block print style. It's very good. You'll like the artiness of it for sure, Marco. Chainsaw Man, easy. For me, man, the ambitiousness of Crisis on Infinite Earths, for when it happened, that's gotta be in there. Hawkeye. I think some of the experimentation in Hawkeye is really important, and I'm gonna stick with Usagi Yojimbo. I think the storytelling and I mentioned it earlier, the research that goes into the historical aspects of the book is absolutely incredible.
Marco, you got yours?
I'm missing two, but maybe we'll work through it. I got Swamp Thing for sure.
Uh-oh, Kale.
I'm just realized another reason to be mad about this list. Akira's not even on it.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck? What are they doing? All right, let's shut this shit down. Fuck this book. Fuck this list.
I'm doing Swamp Thing. I did include Sandman. I'm torn between, like, for a horror book, Lock and Key. Yeah, Lock and Key. No particular order either. I would include Akira, and I'm struggling on the last one. I want to say I Am a Hero, and that's another manga. That's a real fun one. Who's that by again? Kengo Hanazawa. That's it. Real good stuff. Especially if you're into zombies.
That's it?
5?
Yeah, it's 5.
Okay, nice. Wow. You rattled those off. All right, so again, super personal list. I'm sure, someone will pick it apart. I have Civil War on my list.
Oh, I knew that was going to be
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily in order here, but that book is what made me a lifer for comics. And I do think it's an important comic book, if it's not, certainly not perfect. Grant Morrison's Batman, and I'm not saying like any specific arc or whatever, just like the totality of the run. Grant really mesmerized me at 17 years old with some of the stuff they were doing, and I still refer back to it like that is top of the line DC comics. I don't think it really gets much better than that. I would also have Jonathan Hickman's entire Avengers saga on there. Again, another like amazing, incredible run that does special things with a cast of characters that, quite frankly, I feel like don't have that many phenomenal stories. So that would be up there. I would also probably say, The Long Halloween.
Yeah.
Love that book.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Rick Remender's Low. That's in my top 5. Criminally underrated. I don't even know if that was 5. Was that 5?
That was 5.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sure, that's my top 5 today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it'll inevitably change. And I do want to say we're, critiquing the list to some degree, but we understand this person's totally entitled to this list, whatever the reasons are that it looks this way, and that our lists are as critiquable as, this person's. That's just the way it goes. I wanted to have this conversation just because I feel like it frustrates me that, there's Marco always brings up, or used to bring up a lot, the idea of comics as low art. And even though when I was younger and, it's not even in my lexicon to speak that way, that idea has always kind of bothered me as a fan of comics and as someone who loves them so much, that unless the book is autobiographical or it's some kind of a memoir or it's, a big, fucking book like Watchmen, like this really seminal thing, that it's trash. Unless it was written by the right kind of person, or the main character's the right kind of character from a, gender or ethnicity standpoint, that those things are what matter, and that the quality or the fun of the book is not taken into account. That it's actually a point against it, I feel like, if it comes from the big two. Or even if it's indie, but it's not heady. That bothers me. And that's what I was even talking about earlier. I want to see that celebrated.
Yeah.
For one of our Patreon posts, one month we should all just do like a top 100 of our favorite books.
Are you crazy?
See how many
Fuck
crossover.
off.
Come on,
Top
100 is not bad.
100?
100?
That's not bad.
What do you mean
I
it's not
couldn't even-
bad?
I couldn't even tell you a top 10 that I've ever read.
What?
You want me to tell you 10 books right now?
Not right now. I'm saying for like our monthly post, we have time to think about it. 1 month, we should all just put out like our top 100 books and see how many cross over.
No, fuck you.
What?
Unless these people want to pay for it.
They are.
Marco is the Brian Bradenson of this podcast. You're terrorizing me right now with that concept. There's no way I'm doing a top 100 comics.
I'm going to do it.
We're lucky Murphy's not going to listen to this, because he'd be like, yeah, absolutely, you're doing this.
I'll up my Patreon pledge if you guys
Yeah, right.
do a top 100. No, I mean, like, I could probably swing. God, I don't know. I could swing a top 20, top 25, something like that if I had to. Sure.
Yeah, 100. At some point, you're just going to be listing books.
Things you've read, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that one? Oh yeah, Heroes in Crisis. I read that.
Oh, yeah. I read that.
Yup, that was cool.
Okay, so we already know that's 100. That's bottom of the list.
Spawn number 327. Gunslinger Spawn, the one where he fucks the clown, that one.
The Scorched.
And that's number 1.
Right, somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our conversation on the greatest books of all time. We'd love to hear you guys share your thoughts. How do you feel about the distinction between, Western style comics and manga? Do you think they go together? Do you think they should be listed together? How do you feel about lists like this in general and their subjectivity? Obviously, everyone's list is valid, even the worst of them. We'll never take that away from you. Let us know how much you miss Tyler. I'll tell you this, I miss Tyler a lot because I suck at doing this, but I'm going to get better. And if you want to help us support the show, help me get better, help me improve, there are plenty of ways that you can support us. Patreon.com/thecomicspals. For as little as $3 a month, you can support the show. And you can get a lot out of it. There's newsletters that we post up every single week, one from each of us. So you're getting 4 a month of those. Our Palling Around show, we did an episode about video games most recently. That was a blast. You can influence the book club, which we just experienced. We're reading Uncanny Avengers because of the vote of the Patreon listeners. Thank you guys so much for that. Watch this show live twitch.tv/The Comics Pals at 10:15 a.m. if Tyler's here, Eastern. And watch Pals Pulls every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what we're reading this week. You guys will find out really soon. We'll share that with you guys online. YouTube.com/The Comics Pals. Like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. All that's free to do, and it helps us out a lot more than it costs you. I really appreciate everybody who stuck around and listened. Thank you all for tuning in. Plugs, Kale.
If you want to make me worse, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TotoInto. That's TOTOINTOW. You can find my work at kaleward.com. That's CLEWARD.com. And tell me why the store worm would make your top 15.
Ooh, great book.
Marco.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Marco Enomoto. Come talk to me about... I've been reading a lot of manga, a lot of romance manga. So come talk to me about all of your favorite love stories and love tragedies. It's been a recurring theme in the manga.
Right.
Well...
As for me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram only at Sean Soapbox. I don't know what's going on. I've been in a fog. Share your top 5. Yeah. Share your top 5 comics list with us. Love to see it. It'll brighten my day. With that, we're the Comics Pals signing off. Until next time, take care, guys.
See you next week.
I already got 9.